Now, imagine how you looked watching her bleed out.
Right. Probably
Didn't feel nothing.
nothing.
Didn't feel nothing. You just looking at her bleed out and be like, yeah, let me wait,
Goes to an interview the next day.
Has a party and everything, has a release party, goes on tour, like literally actively plans 10 steps ahead to basically destroy evidence and dispose of her body. And then you just carry on like normal. And then you make these songs about death. And then you talk about, oh, I love blood. And then you have you sell these blood hand-printed shirts. Like, what the is wrong with you, bro?
Yeah.
This the kind of beat to go, this the kind of beat to go, this the kind of beat to go, rock, ta, ta.
Welcome back to another episode of the Petty Headquarters. I'm your host, Tiana Locke, and this is
Jessie Strange.
And we are back at it again with another episode, y'all. Okay. So if you guys are new, we are the Petty Headquarters.
Yes, we covered things like reality TV, internet culture, celebrity culture, and baddies. And today we will be talking about David, the singer, his case, and everything, our thoughts on the whole thing.
Yeah, with Celeste and the alleged murder of Celeste, right? So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this week's dose of mess with that, right? So we did cover this a while back on the channel, but now new things have come up and resurfaced. He was arrested.
Yes.
Which is very different because before we were saying the bitch did it, with his TikToks, with the songs that he was making and all this weird shit he was doing and playing with blood and having this fascination with blood and being on Discord and being a fucking loser. So yeah, now he was fucking arrested and now we're just going to really talk about that, everything we know up until now. So give us everything.
Okay, so, should we do a brief intro of like who David is for those of you who are new? There's so many other sources out there.
So much.
It's a huge case. So I just want to be clear that we're not here to really discuss the fine details of things and more so the bigger, broader conversations, 100%. Like questions that, I guess I have after this. But for those of you who don't know, David, whose real name is David Anthony Burke, is a singer who blew up online from TikTok and gaming.
Right.
With songs like Romantic Homicide and Here With Me. He was signed to Interscope Records and became one of the fastest rising alternative artists online.
All right.
So long story short, when we did that video, we deep dived into like a little bit of his artistry, him and Celeste. And from the beginning, like you said, we knew, we had a feeling he did it. Oh, I also want to make it known that here, everything is allegedly, obviously.
Right.
You are innocent until proven guilty in America. Whatever, you guys know what it is. This is
United
just here.
States of America.
Yeah. We're just here to have a conversation for entertainment purposes.
For sure.
Okay, we don't know. We just know that things have unraveled since then.
Right.
So April 2024, Celeste goes missing. 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez disappeared from California in April 2024. Prosecutors later alleged that she had been involved with Burke for years before her disappearance.
Right.
September 2025, her body was found. The case became national news after human remains were discovered in a Tesla registered to Burke. The car had reportedly been abandoned in Hollywood Hills and later towed to an impound, which workers noticed a strong odor coming from the vehicle, which we also find out in the court documents that there was also flies around the Tesla.
A bunch of insects around.
Yeah.
And then looked in there, it was the body bag and it was dismembered body parts of Celeste.
The body was dismembered. Remains were wrapped in bags and stored in the vehicle's front trunk. And I know that there was a missing pinky.
And a ring finger.
And a ring finger, which were alleged to have
his name tattooed on her ring finger.
Exactly. Yep.
Aren't there pictures of that though?
Of what?
Of his name on her ring finger. There are pictures. Sure. So like I don't understand how that's allegedly.
Everything is allegedly here.
Okay, no, I get the part of cutting off and saying who did it, but in terms of like his name was dead ass on her ring finger. Like, that's dead ass fact.
Oh, okay.
There are images of that.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand like that part being, but whatever. Yeah, we get the point.
Burke was arrested in April of 2026 and charged with first-degree murder, continuous sexual abuse of a minor, mutilation of a corpse, and of course, he pleaded not guilty.
Which is crazy to me, but, whatever.
So here's the theory. Ready?
Okay.
So the prosecutors have the theory. According to prosecutors, Celeste allegedly threatened to expose the relationship.
Yeah.
Burke allegedly believed this could destroy his career. He was set to go on tour and release his album in the next following days. Prosecutors claim he invited her to his Hollywood home on April 23rd, 2025. They alleged that she was stabbed multiple times shortly after arriving. The prosecution further alleges that he let her bleed out. He later brought chainsaws, body bags, a shovel, an inflatable pole, and a burn cage to dispose of the body and evidence. One of the most disturbing allegations is that prosecutors claim 2 of Celeste's fingers were, again, amputated because they had the tattoos linking her to Burke. The autopsy reportedly found multiple stab wounds, post-mortem dismemberment, removal of limbs and fingers.
It also shows, right, that there have been text messages, like they allege that there's as to why they say like the reason for him allegedly committing this murder is because there were text messages that showed like them having lengthy arguments back and forth because he was having other romantic relationships with other women, right? She was upset. She was jealous. She wanted to be the only one. And then she threatened to expose him. And then he didn't want that, right? Especially at the height of his career, invited her over, da-da-da. And then this part here is alleged because I'm not sure that apparently, she gets there because he orders an Uber to her house. She gets there around 10 p.m., but around 10:30, he texts her talking about, where are you?
Yes.
To make it seem like, an something
alibi
happened to her. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, right, at 11:30, his phone records show that he was driving 2 hours north to an isolated site in Santa Barbara County.
Yes.
So, mind you, that's where her passport was also found.
Right, exactly.
So now everything is just a little confusing and I don't know.
Well, the thing is, right? So they say that they were texting from the Uber ride. Where she is located is about a 2-hour drive. It's not down the block.
Right.
So apparently throughout the Uber ride, they were texting back and forth and this is what the prosecution is alleging. Right? That they have evidence that they had conversation up until the point that she had arrived, where she had told him that she had arrived. With 20 minutes later, he again texts that. So they believe it, or they're accusing that he is doing that on purpose to, again, create an alibi and create a story
For himself.
Exactly. It's showing intent.
Right. So this is what is crazy to me, where I had to look up what this meant. So now, September 18th, 2025, LAPD executed a search warrant, right, at a Hollywood Hills property linked to Burke and like his property. And they seized 40 terabytes of information collected from computers, electronics, digital evidence, possible forensic evidence, as well as finding a significant amount of CSAM. Now, I didn't know what the fuck CSAM was. So I had to look that up. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay, so I had to look that up, and it is basically any visual content of child sexual abuse material, whether that includes photos, AI, videos, anything like that. And I just could not believe that.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
I was gagged.
40 terabytes?
40 motherfucking terabytes, but that's including that plus other stuff, right?
Yeah, but still, that's a lot of info.
That's a lot. That's a lot. And 40 terabytes? TB?
Yeah.
But that's just telling me the type of person you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're having TB. TB?
Yeah.
Not even gigabytes. TB?
It's another level.
That's another level, bro. And that's just telling me who you are for real.
You're on the internet.
Yes. Low-key crossing over into otaku nerdy area.
Yeah.
Right? And then you live on Discord, and then you're contacting younger underage girls, and it's usually those otaku nerdy area type dudes, right? So the fact that you have 40 terabytes where you don't even work in digital media. So what the fuck do you have 40 terabytes for? You're not an editor.
Anything.
You're not an editor. You're a fucking gamer, loser, nerdy, fucking piece of shit that basically preys on younger girls. And that's usually what it fits the description. Unfortunately, it fits the description. Twitch streamer, Discord, met her on Discord, online.
And
like
he's a mod on the Reddits, on all his
of
Reddit
course,
forums and
right?
shit like
you
that.
fit the description,
Yeah.
right? Of having that heavy digital footprint in terms of just like gaming, being online, Discord chat, meeting a girl online, and then why the fuck do you have over 40? Why do you even have 40 terabytes of anything?
Of anything.
You're not a video editor. You're not. You don't work in that.
You should have. Got a calling for it, I guess.
Bro, like at this point, like that's telling me, like I feel like when I heard 40 terabytes, it was giving fucking nerdy otaku that literally preys on younger girls because he can't get a girl his age.
You know what's interesting is that, so I watched this video by Jay Wisdom, YouTuber, who implements a lot of psychology, his psychology background on these things. And he did a video on David, and his original video kind of got some backlash in one of his takes.
Mm-hmm.
One of his takes suggests that because he went to school, homeschooled.
Oh, because he was homeschooled.
During his prime time of socializing from 12 to like high school, he believes that he originally said that David is not a predator because his attraction to Celeste didn't necessarily develop because of her age, but because of this online connection and involvement that he always had.
Right.
And people were kind of like coming for him because it's like, it's a valid point to say that him and Celeste met that way, but there are rumors that they're like in the deep Reddit forums that supposedly there are screenshots that David was involved with other minors.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to what the prosecutions claim, they found 40 terabytes and CP is included in that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how can you say he's not a predator
After that? Right.
Yeah, if you
After
have
that.
40 to, if you, I don't know, it's giving
Did
weird.
he say that after this information came out?
He did another
He
video.
retracted it?
He didn't retract it.
Okay.
He did understand like, okay, maybe his take wasn't all that correct, but there were parts of it that could still be argued. And he does a very good job. I think you guys should definitely go check out both of his videos. I think it's really knowledgeable and really nice, a really good take.
Right. So it's so interesting that you say that, right? And that he has that type of standpoint or that viewpoint of that, which I think is not valid. I don't think it's valid. I mean, I think, yes, you can say that it does contribute because he, like I said earlier, he matches the description, right, of a shut-in otaku nerdy guy that's only been online. So, of course, he's going to fantasize about what's online, right? And 9 times out of 10, what do people show online and dark web and on porn? Underage girls, right? So, with that being said,
yeah,
that's just, again, that I guess there's a contribution to that. However, that still doesn't erase the fact that you are a predator.
There are...
Sorry, I just
ahead.
have one thing to say. The fact that, you know, while you were dating Celeste, to take it back, you were going to her school and paying off, you know, other kids $1,000 just so that they won't say anything that they saw you guys together, that you were even involved with Celeste, just tells me that you knew for a fact that this is not something that you should be doing.
Well, I just want to correct you for a second because he didn't pay them. That was the original theory when people saw the picture that's the reason why.
How much did he pay them?
But the prosecution claims that David, after Celeste had ran away one of the times, her phone was taken away by her parents, and so David drove to meet up with her classmate to give her a phone and paid them money to do it. So now we're thinking that that's the photo you're thinking about.
They paid them. He
paid
them
the
money
kid to give her a phone,
to
so she
give her a phone
to keep in contact with her.
Keep in contact with him.
Mm-hmm.
That is so weird.
Yeah.
Either way, why are you doing that?
Right, exactly. But that also, again, goes back to what you said, the awareness that you know you shouldn't be doing these things.
You have to have a lot of intelligence to think this far ahead, right? Now, with that being said, you clearly are a smart individual. to even text her talking about where are you to create an alibi, allegedly create an alibi for yourself. And to have this whole plan thought out, you know, you did this whole thing. You have to have a high level of intelligence to think that far, to even know you're capable. You're capable of knowing what you're doing. You're very much aware. So that whole stance about, oh, he was homeschooled, even worse because you're even smarter.
Right. Well, so let me elaborate on his take because it was more than just that, right? So the point of the video for him was to say were there signs before, right? Or did something happen to David that he became this monster?
Yeah.
And so going back to there are tweets of David saying that he has seen in the dark web, he has seen cartel executions, and because he wanted to become desensitized to these things. And he also claims that what was it? There was something else that he likes gore.
Right, which is what we talked about too in our last video.
Right.
His obsession with blood and gore and things like that.
And when you listen to his interviews, when he talks about human behavior, he does it from like a perspective of listening to others because he never experienced it himself. He doesn't have that social...
David is saying this.
Yes.
Okay, so he's a sociopath.
Yeah.
Okay.
in conclusion,
okay.
he is a sociopath.
Okay. Like, I mean, again, this is still furthering, I think this is further proving my point at this point.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so
100%.
the guy that made that point, do you have the video?
Yeah, I do. It's right here.
I wanna see it.
Oh, it's a long video. It's like an hour
like
video.
maybe the part where he gets to the point.
It's a breakdown. It's not
shit. It's a breakdown. All right.
It's like here.
Maybe there's like a little
46 minutes. I mean, do you want to see this one?
Yeah.
This is the I was wrong about David.
Following the release of my psychological analysis on David, there's been a certain opinion I made that's had some pushback from viewers. I stated, I don't believe David sought out Celeste in a predatory form, looking for a minor because that's what attracted him. The fact he was only 16 at the time and was being homeschooled makes it completely plausible that the relationship began as some kind of intense online companionship where he was just happy to talk to someone, with age not being one of his concerns. I believe they started off as friends who confided in each other, made jokes, and wasn't started off in any inappropriate nature. Now, looking back on it, I did all the research and analysis to come to this conclusion, but then didn't really go into enough depth to explain why. I kinda just made it seem like a casual observation and opinion, and rightly so, people contested it.
This is where I'm gonna have to disagree with this dude, man. When I was 16, I am not gonna wanna hang around no 11-year-old.
Right.
No.
So what I want to do in this video is explore the two sides in a lot more depth, because I really undersold the importance of this segment. Because if David just happened to stumble upon Celeste, saw her as a friend in his lonely world, and slowly graduated to a relationship, then that makes him seem more complex, and someone who went down a downward spiral into a predator. But if David sought out Celeste with the purpose of finding a minor specifically because that's what attracted him, then that makes him even darker than I first portrayed. Because if Celeste's age was the reason he killed her, and Celeste's age was also the reason he was attracted to her.
So after listening to that and watching that, I can see him trying to come from a point of maybe there's something mentally off with David, because it's not like you can label him as a predator, because predators actively are aware and knowingly search for underage victims. Whereas in his case, he was just on the internet and he met her on Discord, right? Which I can understand that point in terms of looking at things that way. If I'm listening to him and not trying to be like, oh my God, and be outraged, like I can see that. Like I can see how there's a difference in that. It's not like he's actively praying like, yeah, I like fresh meat, some weird shit. Like he was online. He was online and he was just vibing, Discord, Reddit, whatever. She was there. She was probably lonely too, had her little friends. And that's usually how a lot of these online relationships start. People are alone in their own little world and they just want to go somewhere else. And I understand that. However, when you knew about her age is when
Right.
it should have been the cutoff. Like, she's 11, you knew about that. Like, you don't think that's weird even to be friends with 11-year-old? Like, 16, I wouldn't want to be friends with someone that's 11.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
at all. I would not. So to think that he still continued knowing that, and then knowing that even when they met up in person, like, he's still older, you know what I mean? Still underage. It's just like, okay, now here's the part where I disagree. Now you know, you're aware, and you're continuing to do it now.
Right. And you know that it's not, you know that it's illegal. Like, at the end of the day, you know what you're doing is wrong, because if not, it wouldn't have been a secret.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now I hear his point in terms of that, but that also just it makes it even more fucked up, I feel like, because now you're showing these signs of a alleged or sociopath, right?
Pretty much.
Right. So now it just makes me think, now imagine how you looked watching her bleed out.
Right. Probably
Didn't feel nothing.
nothing.
Didn't feel nothing. You just looking at her bleed out and be like, yeah, let me wait,
goes to an interview the next day.
Has a party and everything, has a release party, goes on tour, like literally actively plans 10 steps ahead to basically destroy evidence and dispose of her body. And then you just carry on like normal. And then you make these songs about death. And then you talk about, oh, I love blood. And then you have you sell these blood hand-printed shirts. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you? And everything that we're talking about here on this episode, y'all, we definitely already covered in the first one. So y'all gonna have to check out that one, listen to that. All the receipts and all the facts are on there for you. But yeah, this shit is crazy.
But then it also brings her conversation, like, how much of an impact gaming and not getting out and socializing, socializing on the most important times of when
your adolescence.
Yes, and the most important time of your growth, where you learn the social cues, when you learn what's not right and wrong.
Right.
But when you're getting taken away from that and not having that interaction with people, this is what it creates.
Mm-hmm.
It creates this sociopath.
Who are David's parents?
They were big churchgoers.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They were trying to protect him from the world. I think they were overprotective parents.
Okay. And
I don't know.
Did they speak out about this?
I think that they're standing by his side. But David also put his name, all the stuff that he owned under his mom's name. So I'm pretty sure he knows he's guilty.
Oh my God.
And, he's trying to save money to his parents, give his money.
That is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So his parents are Dawood and Colleen Burke. Oh, wow. His mother previously managing his business finances.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been supporting him following his arrest. Wow. So his mother's like his manager?
Yeah.
That is very interesting. Now this calls for something even more interesting. What is she doing?
I don't know.
What is she doing? Because you're his manager. You knew he was about to blow up. He's, in that world, he was going to be extremely successful. He was successful. He was on his way. You're his manager. Now, what does that say about you? Are you going to potentially cover for your son?
Well, they also say that he has two friends that weren't talking or something like that, that were there, especially that there's this dude. I don't know. I forgot what he was to him, but he's been on his streams and stuff like that. And, apparently they had to force him to testify or some shit like that. Like, that some people weren't cooperating, basically.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
I feel like there's a lot more guilty people involved, because I also find it weird how, like, Celeste's parents or any family member at that, it did not show up to any of the hearings recently either.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's absolutely weird. I just feel like does someone within those groups of people, does someone know something that they're just not saying?
Celeste's dad did come out and say that they did not take any money, that obviously he had no idea.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't say that this is why, but I do have low-key a theory why, if they're so-called innocent and just ignorant and not present parents, why they wouldn't be showing up, which I feel like no one's ever said before. I haven't seen anybody suggest this, but what if a part of the reason why they don't want to show up is because maybe they don't want to bring attention to their family because maybe some of their families are immigrants. And in this administration, that's a lot, you know, and you know the natural fear within the community, right? And y'all don't know, but like I'm talking about like, you know, a very close family where you know that it's a real fear.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like because if they are innocent, why wouldn't they show up? It's weird to me. But if I'm thinking from a mind of maybe like a first generation immigrant being here or, you know, second generation, then maybe that's why. I don't know.
Maybe.
If they're innocent.
Yeah, I just think it's weird that her family wouldn't show up. Nobody, like sister, nobody?
Nobody.
That's weird.
Sad.
That is sad.
No one's representing this little girl?
No, that's weird because usually, you know, with anyone's child dying like that, they want justice. They're going to be there. They're going to be in everything. What I'm saying. So the fact that nobody's there is insane.
Either they're guilty. Yeah, either they were guilty, meaning like they were in cahoots with David. They were like, oh, she's gonna become of age one day and he's gonna marry her. So you know it'll work out. You know they knew. Like I can see that too. If they're guilty, then they're
that also
compliant.
Adds to the whole thing that you mentioned with the possibility of them being immigrants and being afraid, because I feel like that's a very like mentality in terms of marry someone older and then he has money, so go off with him. A lot of them think like that. So I hope that could be another reason too where they were like, shit, I don't want to be involved in this shit if that was the case. You know what I mean? But we are just speculating. We do not know. We are just speculating and coming up with potential predictions that obviously are not true.
Right.
So, but we don't know that.
We are not no crime and nothing, okay? We're a pop culture podcast that we're just talking and spitballing about what, you know, they're just different takes that we haven't seen.
Different takes for sure. So from the looks of it, right? In a CBS News article, it does say that David's parents, Dawood, I think that's how you pronounce it, and Colleen Burke, they are fighting the subpoenas to testify in the grand jury investigation targeting their son. It seems like a lot of people are just refusing to talk, not willing to talk based off of everything that you said too, with even his friends.
Yeah,
I just don't know how this case is gonna go. And seeing that he was arrested is really insane because I didn't think they was actually gonna fucking arrest him.
I know.
And seeing that he finally was arrested for that, it's like, okay, what's gonna happen here? Do you really think this is gonna be a situation where he actually gets away with this, or?
No, I don't think so. I think there's a lot of evidence.
There's a lot of fucking evidence. But do you think he may have like some connections in high, powerful places?
No, not David.
Okay.
Not David. I don't think so. I think that he is going down for sure. I mean, I would think, you know, the defense, they try to play chicken with the prosecution because the prosecution just laid it out with mad evidence coming out like just hard. Like, and that's not even, and they have more up their sleeve
that they're not like showing to the public.
Right?
Exactly.
So when they gave the public and they said in their preliminary hearing and the defense was like, you guys can tell the evidence now, basically. And now the defense asked for 2 extensions already. Which means that they're going to have a hard time with their client. So I think David is guilty, but obviously we have to see to know. But, you know, I think the evidence is there. We said it in the first episode as well, that when we covered it, that, you know, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, a lot of it.
Right. Well, I guess now I have a couple of questions. So my question here is, like, how does this affect, like, these parasocial online relationships? Like, how do you even get a handle on monitoring before it even gets to this point? Is there even a way to monitor that shit?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I feel like these, you know, a lot of these companies should be held more accountable. Meaning like Fortnite, Discord, Reddit, you know, those places on the internet are not regulated.
Right.
And you know, the people get hurt and not the company. So I feel like
that happens a lot. That's actually valid. That is so deep because you even see it with what was that old shit? What was that old? It's on my tongue. Fuck. What was it where they always went? You bought shit on there, and it was always some shady shit.
The black market?
No.
eBay?
No, I'm Craigslist.
Oh, Craigslist.
Craigslist. You know how many people fucking died from Craigslist?
Mhm.
Jesus. Okay, continue.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, I think that if there's ever going to be any change, it would have to be something towards the companies, like hold the companies accountable, because that's the only time it'll change. Adding little safety features on your account is not going to hide a kid.
It doesn't really do anything.
It's not going to
help
at all. Right.
No.
The kid is still going to find a way to do all the maneuvering they got to do. Like, so, yeah.
Crazy.
But also, it really is interesting to think about the parasocial relationship thing again, right? Because
and then with him being a shut-in, being online the whole time, not really getting out or socializing.
But also, right, when he first got arrested, his music shot up. His supporters and everybody was like listening to his shit, and it was weird, right? Like this is, but these are also the same people that saw him on stream with Celeste. A lot of it was in the community. It was very known that, you know, there's even a live stream of his friend literally asking on live, "You still with that minor?" Yeah, there's literally a live stream with that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you hear it. And then it's like, so it seemed like it was a known thing, you know, and everybody just kept shut because at the end of the day, David was paying their bills, right? That's usually how the story goes.
Right.
Celeste wasn't protected. But anyways, going back to the parasocial thing, these people knew and no one really said anything.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
do you feel like just the fact that they had that parasocial relationship with him, that they were able to ignore the red flags?
Of course.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I think that you make a good point though, when these companies should be held responsible.
Yeah.
But then it's like, you can't really hold them responsible. You can't.
Yeah.
You
yes.
can't.
I mean, there are
they
ways.
offered the platform and you decided to do that on their platform. They are not responsible or liable for that because it's not like they told them to do it. It's not like they did it.
Yeah, but there's got to be some way to implement regulations at the end of the day. I'm just speaking.
How are you going to implement regulations on someone talking to an underage girl online?
Yeah, I guess.
Especially when people can easily be like, oh, this is my birthday because I want to use the app. So
yeah,
it's complicated.
It is. Oh, definitely is complicated.
It's complicated. I don't even know if you can regulate that. I don't even know if you can monitor that, but I don't know.
I know that there was a sentiment going around online that there was a lot of people who were covering this case and just kind of like spewing out the details and not and really talking about it like it's a story and taking away from the fact that there was a real victim to this and there was a real child that was murdered and dismembered.
When you say talking about it like a story, like what do you mean?
Meaning they're just people like just talking about it irresponsibly. Meaning, you know, like a DJ Academics would, like, you know, just chatting. I'm not saying he did specifically. I'm just saying
in that sense, that's what you mean by story.
Right.
Okay.
So I just want to like make it clear, like at the end of the day, you know, it's fucked up. This whole thing is fucked up because there's a child, a 13-year-old, whatever, teen-year-old child that was not only murdered but dismembered. Like you can't even have peace,
right?
Like through death. Like that's so fucked up, man. You gotta be a fucking psychopath. And I hope that David goes away forever.
No, same.
Yeah.
Same. I just feel like the evidence is way too strong for him to talk about, I'm not guilty. But obviously he's going to say that, right?
Right.
But, you know, I feel like there's also like a disconnect between his image and reality because I feel like because like you said, going back to the fans that were so connected with him on Discord, on Twitch, they see him and possibly think, oh, he can never. He makes alternative music. Like, you know, he's a nerd like me. Like, you know,
a nerd.
He's like, you know, he's not capable of that. And, you know, I'm honestly sick and tired of that. I'm honestly sick and tired. Just because he doesn't look big and scary, that doesn't mean he's not capable of what the real facts are, right? Allegedly. So, yeah. So, I mean, at this point, like, to me, you see this happen time and time again, like when there are people that are dead ass guilty, but because they don't match the description of what in their mind what a guilty person would look like, they don't even classify them as that. They're like, how could he? Impossible. You know? And then there becomes the victim blaming, right? Where they'll blame the younger girl, they'll blame, you know, just any person that's the victim in the scenario, like, oh, well, they wanted it.
Yeah.
Right. And I hate to bring it to this, but you saw that in the Jeffrey Dahmer cases. Why it was ignored. He looked like a fucking nerd. That was weird, but he's not going to do nothing.
Yeah.
You know? And then this fucking guy was a fucking terror.
Well, you know, it's so interesting because going back to his lack of feelings and empathy, or you're just like not knowing how to socialize.
Right.
David was apparently, he had, when he got arrested, he had specifically asked, like, I just want to get a haircut. Can I get a haircut? And I think that's an interesting thing to say. Like, you care about your appearance, your haircut, rather than, I don't know, getting out. I don't know what you need, bro. You need a...
But that already, it's screaming sociopath.
It screams sociopath.
It's screaming that. It's like you're not even realizing the situation and you're just like, yeah, well, I don't care about none of that. Can I cut my hair?
Yeah.
You're so, you don't, do you not understand the severity of the situation? And now it just makes me think you definitely watched her bleed out and was like, well, so how long is this going to take? Because I got to dismember you and I got to do all this stuff and I got to make sure I got my research right so I can have an alibi so that I will get caught. Literally just like that. Like looking at the clock.
Allegedly.
How long is it?
The end of the day.
Allegedly. But it's just the fact. This is not funny. It's just the fact that like you just sitting there asking for a haircut like that. It just again makes me believe more that you were just like, well, like that's crazy. Just tapping the phone, looking at the time, looking at your watch, whatever the case is. Like,
yeah, this whole thing is crazy. Like,
whole thing is wild.
From finding the fragments of the inflatable pool, in her bones, basically. Yeah. From finding apparently DNA evidence in his garage. Finding the chainsaw marks,
all
on
of
the floor.
it, even finding like his purchase receipts for the chainsaws, for the pool,
using a fake name, which is goes to show you how much of a disconnected person he is. Because okay, you used a fake name, but you're going to the same address,
right? And then also, like, why would you even have receipts of you purchasing something like that?
That's
online?
That internet shit.
That's
that
what
I'm
saying.
about.
When I saw that
generation,
I was like, bro, why the fuck? Dumb.
Right.
I'm like, why the fuck would you go?
Like, it's like filming you doing illegal shit. Like,
right. It is.
And the thing is, he really thought he was getting away with it.
No, he really thought, yeah, like this is a movie. This is my movie. And like the whole, he really thought he ate. Allegedly. Thought he ate. Talking about some, oh, where are you? Texting later. Like, bro.
Crazy.
But just after finding like he paid for all those things online, I'm like, bro,
yeah, online.
Really? That's pretty wild.
Not even go to Walmart, bro. You
not even paying cash.
You ordered body bags on Amazon, bro.
Yo, bro, that shit is crazy. Getting the body bag, getting the chainsaws, getting all that shit. The cage, all that. I'm like, why the fuck would you? But whatever.
Right.
No. God will handle you.
Sure will.
God will fucking handle you.
Sure motherfucking will.
That's it. Like, I feel like I have nothing else to say about this. As far as Celeste's family, I do wish that they
say something.
Yeah, that they say something and they were more present. The fact that they're not showing up.
Sad.
It is sad. Yeah. And then you have David's parents. Obviously, they're going to be like, oh, he's innocent. They're his parents, right?
They want his money.
Right. But that's another thing, especially with his mom managing his business and his financials. Like, of course she's gonna, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's just a crazy situation.
It is. So let us know in the comments below what y'all think about this whole case. Obviously, there's so many details, but there are other platforms where you can find all the details in one section.
Right.
We're here to just discuss what we know and, you know, talk about it like y'all just watched the other video and came here. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. So again, like we talked about David already. So definitely check out that other video and then come back here. This is like an updated one.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to say about this shit.
Nothing else.
All right. Well, so with that being said, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram. That's JESSI.strange. And where can they find you, Tiana?
You guys can find me on Instagram at its.tianalock. You guys can find us on Instagram at
The Petty Headquarters.
You guys can find us on YouTube, Patreon, and all podcast platforms at
The Petty Headquarters.
We release episodes weekly, y'all. With that being said,
This was your weekly dose of mess.